welcome to my channel. So today, as you might have seen from my very dramatic intro, I am going to be making a pot plant cover. My boyfriend said no more buying, so I had a plant that needed a pot and I was like, damn it, I wanted a pot from Target. But no, that was $25. This fabric is left over from a skirt that I have. This fabric is, I believe, twill. Anyway, you're really gonna need a thick fabric for this project. I'll link some below. So you will need 2 pattern pieces based on your pot. So for mine, which is 20 centimeters, I based it off my saucer. I need to decide how big I wanted my cover to be. For my pot, the length of the rectangle was 29 inches, the height was 8 inches, and across the circle it was 9 inches. And don't forget to add seam allowance. Usually I do about 1.5 centimeters. And you can add more or less on the top edge, depending on if you want to fold it over the pot, or maybe you don't want to fold over the pot. So you're going to need some fabric that is wide enough to fit the length of the rectangle folded. So mine would be 75 centimeters wide, so either the length or the width of the fabric has to cover at least that amount. So you might even need like half a meter, depends how giant a pot you want. Maybe you just need a tiny little pot. So I would recommend heavyweight fabrics. The one I got is originally from Spotlight, I just had left over. But I'd say things like drill, cotton canvas, upholstery fabric, something that has a good structure to it. You're also going to need interfacing, heavyweight interfacing. That just makes it more sturdy. I only interfaced one side of my pot, but I probably would have interfaced both the lining and the inside. So you obviously need scissors, rotary cutter, pins, maybe even heavyweight needles, depending on the fabric, and obviously a sewing machine. So once you've cut out all your pieces, you've got to interface them all, or just the outside pieces. I just interfaced the outside pieces, as you can see here. It's really easy. You just make sure you get the shiny side downwards, so that's the glue side, and then I just put that on top to protect the iron a bit. Just don't stick it to your iron, because you will kill your iron. So we've got the lining, those 2 light colored pieces, and then the outside. Pretty straightforward. I just sewed a straight line and a seam. You don't need to finish any of these seams because they're going to be on the inside. So then next, once I'd sewn the rectangle sides together, I pinned the circular side of the circle to one edge of the rectangle, and I matched up the seam allowances. Then obviously I stitched it down, keeping with the seam allowance that I chose, which was 1.5. You can choose your own. So yeah, I'm just showing you my hard work. It's all stitched in, and that's the lining. And I'm going to do the same thing with the outer pieces. Make sure you put right sides together. When you're a beginner sewing, you don't really think about these sorts of things, but make sure they're right sides together. Like you can see what I've done here. So I repeated the same steps. Like you can see, I sewed the rectangle first, now I'm sewing the circle to one bottom edge of the piece. The important thing is to make sure that when you're cutting your pieces, they match up and these are all going to line up. So the next step is pretty simple. It's putting the right sides together, and then you're gonna remember to leave a little gap so you can turn it through. I would probably recommend leaving more than me because it took me a little while. You also want to match up the seams. Like you can see, I'm trying to desperately show you there, but my camera decided to not focus. So I just pinned all the way around, making sure right sides together, and then I sewed. Don't forget to leave that gap though. Try not to get distracted like me and procrastinate finishing this halfway through. So I just clipped into the corners or the curve like every 2 centimeters or so. That's kind of like what you're meant to do with curves. Honestly, I don't think my fabric was that thick, so I don't think it made that big of a difference, but if you had like a really chunky fabric, it could really help you get it a bit more flat. So this is the part where I'm saying I think you should leave a slightly bigger gap than I did, because I spent a good part of 10 minutes trying to turn this bloody thing through. Obviously eventually I got here, and this is sped up by like 700%. So, and it's still I'm struggling, but yeah, just leave a little bit of a bigger gap, especially if you've got a really thick fabric. It can be really hard to turn things through sometimes. Okay, wow, I finally got there. It looks like a bit of a crumbled mess, but we'll iron it, we'll fix it up, we'll make it better. Can anyone else notice what I'm watching in the background? I think it's New Amsterdam from memory. Yeah, I binge watched that show in like 3 days. So yeah, I did a little bit of a top stitch, so that keeps the gap that we left down and secure, and everything's inside now, like you can see. Yep, then I just gave it a quick iron because it was looking a bit ratty.